Hello. Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome, the warmest of welcomes, a sort of Saharan midday welcome, a hot welcome to whoever you are, wherever you are around the world listening to this. Perhaps you're tuning in to YouTube, but this is Cop on Podcast. And I want to start in this amazingly exciting moment when we do have a chance for the Premier League trophy tomorrow as we're recording this, and the Champions League in 1 week. Madness. I'm going to open with the first stanza from the Song of Wandering Angus by William Butler Yeats. And it goes like this. I went out to the hazel wood because a fire was in my head, and cut and peeled a hazel wand, and hooked a berry to the thread. And when white moths were on the wing, and moth-like stars were flickering out, I dropped the berry in a stream, and caught a little silver trout. Brian is with me. I'm delighted. Brian is with me. Nigel is with me. I'm also absolutely delighted. Thank you, guys. Brian, first of all, William Butler Yeats, what a guy. And secondly, what percentage chance, I want a percentage at the beginning and the end of this episode, do you think we have of catching the little silver trout that is the Premier League trophy?
I think we have a 33% chance. 1 in 3. I think
that's high. I like it. I like it. Nigel, what about you? How trouty are you feeling?
I think we'll win tomorrow, but I don't know. I'm kind of up in the air on it. I don't know whether we can do. I just don't see City losing.
I'm in your camp.
Yeah, mm-hmm. by fair or foul means, I don't see them. I don't see City losing. I don't see the league letting them lose.
Well, that's another topic we can possibly go into in a bit, but I like it. Doug is here from the Dugout Football Channel. He says a 65% chance. He is feeling absolutely saucy, and I'm delighted about that, Doug. Welcome. You're welcome. Please put your questions in the comments as we go. But Nigel, what percentage would you put on it then? Would you put a sort of 3% chance? Because there's always a chance. There's not zero chance.
25%, maybe.
Oh, I'm normally that's high.
I'm normally very optimistic. I'm normally a very optimistic person, but I just don't see the league letting City lose. It's as simple as that.
Do you honestly think that there's some kind of conspiracy that's interesting?
Once they got away with FFP, I think there's a conspiracy all over the place. FIFA, UEFA, sport, the European Court, or the sports court, whatever they call it, the sport court of arbitration for sport.
Yes, the CAS.
I think it's all over the place.
Okay. Well, I think, I mean, it's interesting to explore that, but I think there are different channels, and they all must be in cahoots and corrupt with each other for that to be true. But I'm not sure.
Absolutely.
I just think expensive lawyers, I think it's true in all of society. If you've got an expensive lawyer, then you can get away with breaking the law. And if you don't have an expensive lawyer, then you can't. But anyway, go on.
Just did you know that, these guys, 2 guys that work for Manchester City drew up the FFP rules?
Yes, I did know that. Yes.
Yeah.
It's dodgy as all heck. Yes.
They told them how to run the clock down and get away with it because the time will elapse. Yeah. Oh, absolutely, no doubt about it. So
that would be the clear and obvious thing to do, to use a VAR term. Absolutely, okay. But I'm still surprised at both of you because, and Doug in the chat, because you're all much more optimistic than I am, because I would say it's around a 7% chance. Now, don't get me wrong. I have put that chance. You've listened. Those who have listened to Cop On over the months, know that I've put that chance in a golden chalice and lit some candles around it, and have worshipped and adored that chance for many months. But it's a lot lower because I just think City are miles better. But let's get into it, because I've got loads of things we can talk about with the Wolves match to preview it. But first of all, we're going to have a quick word about Southampton, and I want to see at the end of the show if you're more optimistic, if you're less optimistic, or whatever. But there you go. Just very quickly about Southampton, Nigel. Just one question about it, really. What positives did you take away from it? Because I thought there were plenty.
Yeah, well, we won. That's the main positive.
Yes.
I thought John Matip was outstanding. I really did. I thought he was fantastic. Costa Simicas played really well. Matip came on in the final the week before against Chelsea, and we were thinking, everyone's kind of tuned their fingernails and stuff like that. Oh God, VVD's gone off. We haven't got any chance anymore. And Matip came on and gave an absolute masterclass. Him and Konate, as a matter of fact. So plenty of pluses.
That's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I mean, Matip and Konate, I wouldn't worry if they started the Champions League final, because they're good enough to beat Real Madrid. Would you agree with that, Nigel?
Definitely.
Excellent stuff. No, that's a really good point. And at the end of the season, what I'm going to do is with Cop On is we're going to have an episode where we're just going to talk about every player and how much we love them and why we love them. So I can't wait for that one. We could do episodes just on Ibu and Joel Matip. Absolutely. Great answer. What about you, Brian? What positives did you take from the Southampton game?
Sorry, I was just thinking about the Allison podcast. Obviously, I want to be on that show.
Yes,
it might keep me a seat.
The 3-hour-long Alison Becker loving. Okay,
I will start preparing for that show now.
Okay,
good. I'm going to start writing poetry. Before I say about the Southampton game, I just want to make a case for my 1 in 3 chance, which I think are quite high odds if you play poker. It's kind of good odds if you're getting those numbers. Okay. Because remember when we played Aston Villa a couple of weeks ago, they gave us a hell of a game. That was a tough game. And Stevie G can get a tune out of them, and those guys don't need to be motivated. If they manage to get a draw of City, they will go down in history. Nobody will ever forget that Aston Villa team. Whoever played that day, that's like a Champions League final for them in many ways as footballers. The whole world will be watching that game, every single kick of the ball. So, I mean, it's more than likely that City will find a way to do what they need to do, but it won't be for a want of Villa giving them a extremely hard game, So anyway, that's the one side. We live in hope. I like it. What about Southampton then? No, I like it. Okay. Southampton. It was again, I watched it with my buddy who's pretty miserable most of the time when we're watching these games. He's always bit of a pessimist. And when that first goal went in, I spent the next 10 minutes talking him down off the edge of the building. He was like, got a bad feeling about this again. and I just thought, you know what, it's fine. It's totally fine. I had to keep reminding him, this is Southampton. There's no shit teams in the Premiership, but they're not great at the moment. Or we will win this game for sure. I had no doubt about it. We would find a way to get things done. And
even with the 9 changes, Brian. Even with the 9 changes, you were just like, "Yes, no worries against Southampton. We're going to get it. We're going to get this done."
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the only person, and this is pretty harsh on this player, the only person I didn't want to see on the team was Chamberlain, because what was that? Who's this?
Hang on. Oh, Nigel's lifting something up. I've muted your mic, Nigel. What does it say?
Tony Harrington.
Read it to us.
Stuart Atwell is the VAR
is the referee appointments for the weekend.
The referee
sorry,
appointments. I can't. And
okay. I'll read it out there. We have Anthony Taylor. Anthony
Tony.
Taylor from
Big
Manchester.
Tone. Manchester's.
Yeah.
They're all from Manchester, to be honest. But yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
there's 5 of them, I think.
Tone.
They really are, aren't
yeah,
they?
okay.
Big
Yeah,
and
5 of
Tone. Okay.
Yeah.
And who else? Have we got?
Assistant Gary Beswick, Adam Nunn, fourth official Tony Harrington, VAR, our favourite person Stuart Atwell. VAR. We're getting nothing.
The most incompetent one. I think I understand this worry, but I think time and time again, especially since January, we've had awful refs because they are awful. And they've been awful in every single game. But we've still managed to win a hell of a lot of games. So I think
we haven't been getting a lot of decisions lately. The last 6 games, it feels like there's so many things that were like obvious fouls. Like a player gets pushed into the stands two-handed in the back. Clear and obvious foul. Nothing. Play on. Who was
the worst customer? The worst official we've had in the last few weeks?
I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it have to be
so many.
Quite a competition. Yeah.
Because I think he might be refereeing Manchester City tomorrow.
Who, Martin?
Oh, really? Oh, brilliant.
Michael Oliver.
Oh, well, Michael Oliver. Yes, the first one came to
I normally think
what game was it? I think it was it the Villa game. We got kicked pillar to post and never got one free kick.
Really?
I think it was the Villa game. He was disgraceful. Wow. He was an utter disgrace.
Awful, Brian. He's been awful for ages, and it's just his reputation. Yes, it's a bit like Trent, who I admit was defensively dodgy when he was 18 5 years ago, but that was 5 years ago. Michael Oliver was a good ref about 4 years ago, and now he's in the habit of just not giving anything, not making any decisions at all. Yeah, unless it's against Liverpool. So, if you compare his style to many other styles, he's like he's a wet wipe. He's a soggy sponge. He's a tissue that has been that you've used to wipe up the orange juice, and he's just as soft as that.
Cheese above the orange juice. That's terrible.
Exactly. It's terrible. It's terrible. Exactly.
But listen, get back to your original question about Southampton and the changes.
Yeah, go on.
What I think about the reason why I wasn't worried is because there's only one way we can do what we're doing right now, and that's being in all competitions right to the very, very, very end. Is if we have quality running right through the club from top to bottom, not just a starting 11. I think people are starting to wake up to Liverpool now and the depth that we have in the squad. We've made more changes than any Premiership team that I can think of in living memory, and still be relevant at the end of the season. Yes, teams have made changes because they're injured, but we're not making changes just purely because they're injured. We're rotating players, and players like Harvey Elliott coming in and not looking a little bit out of place. Curtis Jones, who's still a kid, comes in, does a job. Milner, what can you say? It just goes on and on. And now even Origi, for a while there, I was, I have to be honest with you, before, Origi became a almost ascended master in cosmic terms, and his ability to get those amazing goals. I questioned his commitment, when he got a chance from time to time. He used to kind of walk around, and he just didn't look like he was as committed as he needed to be when he got his minutes. But now that's all changed. He comes on and he's as up for it as anybody else, and it's right through the game. So when we made all those changes, I wasn't worried, and it was confirmed. I mean, you can tell within 10 minutes of watching a game, this is either going to go well or it's not going to go well. Sometimes they make changes and it's just not right, and you think, there's one too many, or there's one too many young players in this team, and then you can feel it. It's not the same team, but that felt like the same kind of Liverpool performance that we've been watching all season. So I was pretty convinced we were going to get there with that.
It's a great answer. Yeah, we ended up with 24 shots to their 4. The XG for Southampton was 0.12. and they managed to get a goal.
Yep.
But, at the first goal, thanks to Martin Atkinson, who was absolutely god-awful as well.
Yep.
But there's not much these refs can do when we just score so many legitimate goals. I don't think Taki Minamino's first goal has been spoken about enough. I mean, you're talking about, Brian, people coming into the team and giving their all and being brilliant. Then Taki's up there. I mean, what a guy. What a brilliant finish. Torres-esque into the top corner. Absolutely beautiful. And then, Joel Matip popping up with the winner, much to Martin Tyler's chagrin. I don't know if you've seen that on Twitter, or maybe you had the misfortune of listening to him commentating live. But I mean, I said many years ago that he commentates on Liverpool goals like he's just opened a tax letter to see that he's underpaid his tax and he's got an extra fine of £1,000. So it's like, you can imagine opening that letter and go, oh God, oh. Like, it's the same reaction when Liverpool score a goal for Martin, that absolute prick. Excuse my name.
Like someone had to kill his dog in front of him. It's great.
Yeah, it is a disgrace. You would think they'd get someone who likes football, who gets excited about goals, to commentate on goals and football. But
mate, we had to listen to him, and we had to listen to Jim Beglin every single game in Hong Kong. That's it. Every Liverpool game, it's Martin Tyler and Jim Beglin, no matter what.
Oh, Jim Beglin, he doesn't annoy me as much. I mean, sometimes
really?
he says some,
let me give you a Jim Beglin impression. Oh, the boys are coming out and they're playing on grass today. Grass is what we normally play on, and of course the ball is still round. Sometimes the ball's not round, spherically, but it's round today, and we're all looking for go over to a game of football. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, Jim.
No, but relatively, that's a brilliant impression. Relatively, someone just saying, and he ran to the back post and headed in, is actually a million times better than a lot of the pundits and commentators that we hear, which are just like, they just spout absolute nonsense. At least he says what's actually going on, even if he's just like talking about the pictures in front of him with zero insight.
Did you ever play Jingo Bingo commentary shots? It's like game of two halves.
Exactly.
Brian,
exactly.
Brian, who did you have last week on the commentary for the cup final?
Commentary for the cup final. That's a good question. I watched that on BBC. So
Jermaine Jackass.
Oh yeah, Jesus, man. You've reminded me.
Yeah,
it's like an episode of Saw. I was like, Jesus Christ. Because when he first started off, I thought he was pretty good, right? I was like, Jermaine Jennison's actually pretty good, right? And then people thought, what are you watching? I was going, no, he's okay, right? And then as each game went on, and he doesn't like Liverpool, does he? It comes across quite clearly. You can almost feel him like getting pissed off as we win something every single time. Yeah, he wasn't. Who else was on the commentary there? It was him and
who's the main commentator? The main commentator wasn't too bad, because people were saying on ITV they had Sam McAfee and Lee Dixon, which is not great either.
Yeah, could have Jason Cundy next,
Oh God.
All right, lads, here we are. Have a nice game of football today.
Some of these pundits are just so bad. Like they are. The ex players. Like we were looking.
Jamie Redknapp. Jamie Redknapp's horrendous.
Yeah, but he's not as bad as
some
of the
I
rest
think he'd be a great signing. I think he'd be a lovely signing. I think you should definitely sign him. Yeah, okay, Jamie.
Yeah, I know. Some of them were really bad.
A bit of a digression there. Go on, carry on.
No. This is good. We can talk about the officials and the pundits and all the time, but let's talk about the good stuff. Let's talk about the wonder of our beautiful football team, because we're going into the Wolves match. We're going into Wolves away. Let's just look at our match in isolation. Liverpool, according to one betting site that I checked, but don't bet if you can, because you might get addicted and then it'll ruin your life. That's my advice. Do what you want. It's a free world. But according to the bet site that I nevertheless checked, Betfred has the best price of Liverpool winning, and it's 6-1 on. So if you put €6, you get €1 back. SBK, never heard of them. They're another betting site, perhaps in Sweden. have the draw at 39-5. So if you put 5 Swedish krona on, you would get 39 back. And William Hill has the best odds for Wolves to win. They have 18-1 for a Wolves win. So if you put
That's
1
huge.
shekel on Wolves to win, you get 18 back if they actually do. So that's huge. Nigel, you work in a bookies. Talk to
I
me.
do.
Are they often wrong? I mean, Liverpool at 6-1 on. I mean, it's surely going to be a Liverpool win, isn't it?
I hope so. I never say it is or it isn't. I'm so down the years watching Liverpool. You can never say. I don't care. Even with this team, I've learned now not to tempt fate.
Okay.
We sat through a lot of absolute drivel from kind of 1991 onwards up to 4 or 5 years ago, and even sometimes then it still kind of creeps in every now and again. But you can never, as a Liverpool fan, I don't do arrogance. You just can't. It's not possible.
No, exactly. But at the end of the day, I do like percentages, and I would give us a strong chance of winning. Like a 90% chance of winning. I'm feeling confident without being arrogant. Wolves can win.
We don't do arrogance. We don't do arrogance.
But,
because we're better than everybody else.
Good point, Brian. Good point. But Nigel, are you feeling confident? Then you must be feeling confident, nonetheless.
I think I said it before. I do think we'll win. I just think there's just listen. Even discounting, we have a chance to win the Premier League tomorrow, possibly outside or not. We've got to give Divock Origi a big send off at Anfield. He deserves nothing less. I hope he gets some minutes and gets a goal. Simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get into our team in a bit. Yeah, the team will pick, and I'm pretty sure Divock will be on everyone's bench at least. Okay, and Brian, I imagine you're feeling confident. I mean, looking at the league table, Wolves are in 8th position on 51 points. Wow, that's 38 points less than us. They've won 15, drawn 6, and lost 16. So they either win or lose. Are you feeling confident, Brian, that we're going to win?
Yeah, I mean, I feel confident going into every game this season. But I have to say, Wolves for me are the team that has most impressed me outside of the. I'd even go as far as the top 2. It just as in City, Wolves are such a dynamic, flowing, attacking team, and they've got some amazing players in their team. And I think we will earn our points that day. I mean, I personally think it's worked out well. I mean, obviously you just want to have the title wrapped up, but if you're going to win it on the last day, to not have to go for goal difference and just to kind of get the win, I think that kind of suits us better, because I can't see us kind of scoring more than 2 goals or 3 at most against Wolves. So, and they're such a dangerous team on the break that I'll take any kind of 1-0 against them. But I'm confident. There's not a team in the world that I'm not confident in playing against right now.
Well, that's very good. It's a very good answer. I've put on the screen for those who have got the audio version of this, the league table. Manchester City, of course, their goal difference is +6 on us. So it does look unlikely we can turn that over on the last day, but you never know. Wolverhampton Wanderers, they've only scored 37 goals in 37 matches. And if you compare to the teams around them, for example, West Ham are 59, Leicester 58, Brighton only 39, but Brentford 47, Newcastle 42, and Manchester United 57. So Wolverhampton, they've obviously got loads of trouble scoring goals, and their actual top scorer this season is Raul Jimenez with 6 goals only. That's a thing that does fill me with confidence, is that they can't score against the rest of the league. Then they're unlikely to score against us, because we've only conceded 25 in 37 matches, compared to Chelsea with their revered defence who have conceded 32 in 37. So Our defence is the second best in the league. Manchester City's is the best with 24. But Nigel, Wolverhampton Wanderers, have you seen much of them this year? I mean, because they do look blunt in attack and they were very organised in defence.
Yeah, not that much, but I remember the game we played them at their place. And of course, we had to bring on Divock to score the last minute winner. And they were very organised. A good plan. I like Neves in the midfield. I think he's a fabulous player. He could be kind of like an heir apparent to Thiago. He's kind of he's their vision. He's their vision. He's their passer. You know, he'll put people in if he can, but it's just they lack a little bit of extra quality. But Neves is quality. If I was trying to sign a centre midfielder, we've been linked to your man from Porto again. What's his name?
Fabio Vieira,
the very guy, 21 years old, apparently, really good prospect. But Neves would be, maybe he's in the same mould. If he was in the same mould as Neves and we got him, I'd be delighted.
Yes, I would say that Thiago is above everybody though in terms of technique and talent. But yes, absolutely. He's a very similar style in terms of the midfield sort of playmaker, a bit more. He's very he's very quite mobile as well as I recall. But Wolves' record, Brian, I mean they were very organised against us. Nigel's absolutely right to bring it up in that game, but I'll bring it up. I'm pretty sure they had Max Kilman in defence, and he's going to be missing for this game. Have you seen Wolves play? Because their recent results, Brian, they haven't won in the last 6 games. They've lost 4 matches to Newcastle, Burnley, Brighton 3-0, and Manchester City.
Newcastle they played the last game, was it?
No, Newcastle they played was on the 8th of April. They lost 1-0.
I watched the last game, I think. I think it felt like a game of 2 halves.
Norwich. They drew 1-1 with Norwich and they drew 2-2 with Chelsea. So it's 2 draws.
Chelsea, that's the one I watched the Chelsea game. Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't they I think that they go up 2-0 against Chelsea?
Chelsea went up 2-0 and Wolves came back and there was a last minute 90+7 equaliser from Connor Cody, I believe.
That's right. Yeah. That was brilliant. I don't know. I mean, I hear you. Okay, so maybe their form's not great and they just strike me as a team for me that are potentially very dangerous. If they get their act together on the day, that's a team that could possibly turn us over or be a banana skin. That's a team for me that if we don't have our mentality just right, if they have a good day against us and the run on the green, they could cause an upset for me. Like there's a lot of teams out there you think, nah, like Southampton, never in a month of Sundays, never going to happen. And a bunch of other teams like that. But Wolves, there's too many good players in there. Neves, there's a reason why we're always linked to a lot of their players because they're good, and they're well managed, they're well organized, they have a game plan, they play some sophisticated football at times, and Connor Cody, what a player, what a defender, he's amazing, and they just seem like a club with spirit and with an identity, and I just wouldn't take them lightly in any way, shape, or form. So, I mean, I don't take anybody lightly, but particularly Wolves. I think we're going to beat them, but I mean, I don't think Klopp will allow this team to sleep on anybody. I mean, what I've just said, I'm sure that's his thoughts as well. Because if you're nonchalant or you take anything for granted, which once or twice this season we've done that. A couple of first half performances. And we've all been there throughout the season going, just get the boys in because this is not good enough, And Klopp obviously says something to do some rejigging, but there's been some lackluster performances and it's usually against teams that we just expect to roll over. And I don't think we can afford to do that with these guys. We have to be at it from the first whistle. Because also it's not just a game. We want to put pressure on City in the other game. Because that will sleep, that will leak through to their game live as it's happening. So if we're like 2-0 up against Wolves, that's something that they might have to contend to. But yeah, look, I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a great game of football. I mean, at least they try to play. They don't sit back and put a low block in most of the time. They play football. So usually when teams try to play football against us, they lose.
Well, yes, but they remind me a bit of Christophe Galtier's Lille team from last season, who upset the odds and beat PSG to the Ligue 1 title. And they're very, very well drilled defensively. They're not. You say they're not going to part the bus, but I think they will. I think they'll. You know, when they don't have the ball, they do sort of. You know, they have a sort of protective shell, and they're very compact. And the defensive line really does move as one. In their last match, they played 3 at the back: Willy Bolly, Connor Cody, and T. Gomez, who I don't even know who that is, to be honest, against Norwich. And then they had Johnny Castro at right back and Ait Nouri, the Ryan Ait Nouri, excellent young player at left back, Neves and Moutinho in midfield, and then a front three of Juan, Jimenez and Neto. Pedro Neto, he's been injured. He's only played 445 minutes of football this season. 2 goals only and 1 assist. And, you know, for someone who was linked with Liverpool, it looks like, you know, sadly, he's had some kind of big injury and he hasn't kicked on from the potential that he's shown. But I don't. Go on.
So to answer your, you know, what you were saying about them being compact and whatnot, but that's who we play against every single game now. Like even top teams play like that against Liverpool. The very few teams in the world right now are willing to open up against Liverpool, right? It takes a very brave team to do that. So whereas before, I think a couple of seasons ago, it might be really frustrating to deal with a low block. Now we're so used to it. That's the norm. That's the you know, we've seen the game a million times. I mean, one of the commentators I don't know if it was in Europe or whatever, but he's like, this is what it must be like for a Liverpool fan, because every team sits back, tries to hit us on the break. You know, our center defenders have the ball more times in the other half than some of their strikers have it in ours in the first 20, 15 minutes. And we see the game pan out the same way, and we don't panic. You know, we just knock the ball around, move the other opposition around, try to kind of find holes and just be very, very patient. And eventually it happens. We find the hole, you know, unless our strikers or, you know, our players are having an incredibly unlucky bad day in front of the goal, we get chances and eventually we convert them. So, yeah, I mean, in that respect, I'm not worried about them being compact, because we've faced that many, many times this season already. What worries me more is if we don't take them seriously in terms of what they have going forward, because they can score goals for sure. You know, we could have a crazy game last game of the season where it's like a 3-4 or something stupid like that. You know, that wouldn't surprise me.
But I disagree, Brian. I disagree because Connor Cody is their 3rd best scorer and he's got 4 goals. Huang has got 5.
Disregard everything I just said.
No. But if you actually, that's the thing. Like, if you actually look at what their goals this season, I can bring it up on the screen.
That's surprising.
Well, there you go. If you read the agenda, then you'll know. But no, sorry. That's totally fine.
Obviously, I didn't read the agenda.
But look, these are their scorers this season, just in the Premier League, right? Raul Jimenez, 33 games, 6 goals.
Oh, I wish I'd read this.
29 games, 5 goals. Connor Cody, 37 games, 4 goals.
Jesus.
Ruben Neves, 32 games. And 4 goals, you know, and then it goes on to 2 goals. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6
take
players
it all
on
back.
2 goals. Well, exactly.
They've got no chance of scoring against us. I feel like such a plum.
You're talking about Wolves from last season or 2 seasons ago when they had Jota, you know, where they were dangerous. But I don't see them. I definitely don't see them scoring 3. Although it's possible, of course.
Look at Traore. Hey, 20 games, 1 goal. Jesus, this is the player that people want 100 million for.
Well, he's buggered off to Barcelona now, of course. He plays back for Barcelona these days. But he's. I mean, I love the guy. But anyway, okay. So there's that, and then there's Jose Sarr. We've got so much to talk about Wolves because Jose Sarr, his save percentage when we did a goalkeeper review a few weeks back was around about 84%, which was by far and away the best in the league. Nigel, his save percentage has gone way down because of the last 6 games. Do you think Wolves' form, the fact that they're conceding more goals, do you think that will continue into the game against us? Obviously, we don't know. We're speculating, but
we don't know. Surely... But I tend to agree with Brian because let's just say, how many times have we played against teams and they've had one shot and scored?
Yes.
All the time. Previous seasons, down the years. I remember. I don't know if you remember, but I've said this before. The last Liverpool game I was at was the game against Salzburg at Anfield, the 4-3. Yeah. Who had Salzburg got up front? Taki and Hwang.
And Holland.
They tore. Holland only came on as a sub.
Okay, but he was the big danger. He scored 2 goals.
He scored the 3rd goal. Hwang scored 1. Taki scored 1. Haaland scored 1. We were 3-1 up. Hwang and Taki Minamino ripped shreds out of us that night. Uh-huh. We were going well. We were 2-0. I think Hwang pulled 1 back. We went 3-1 up. Taki pulled the goal back. Then Haaland pulled the goal back, and then Mo scored the winner. I think is what it was. But Hwang's movement and Taki's movement that night was really you could hear it in the crowd. That night, people were absolutely taken by these 2 players up front for the opposition. You know the way it goes sometimes, like watching our players, but talking to people afterwards and all, just having a general chat, and they were really, really impressed with these 2 guys up front. And subsequently, we signed Taki, and he's this season he's our top scorer in the FA Cup and the League Cup campaigns. So I'm glad he got a little bit of. I'm glad he got a little bit of something out of it because I love Taki. I think he's brilliant.
Absolutely. And regarding what Brian was saying about the low block, see, I think this is something that, I mean, I still think Liverpool can improve on in when facing a low block. I think we found it difficult numerous times this season to break down low blocks. We've got the job done many times, but loads of those performances when it's just like, well, we've managed to win, which is wonderful, of course. But I think as a general thing, we can, because we face it so many times, we do have a habit of winning by 1 goal against these teams, or maybe 2. But I think generally we can be better at breaking down the low block in a number of ways. But I don't know. What do you think, Nigel?
Well, I think I was listening to another podcast on my way home from work last night, and they were saying that referees really don't help us. Like, we're running forward, and I think I heard Brian or one of you saying it earlier on. Mane was getting kicked to ribbons last week. It's kick constantly, and we're getting no free kicks. Like, there's the fouls are not only that we're not being given are not only not been given, but it's stopping any momentum that we have. Momentum against low blocks is really important because we're trying to get the ball and work it down the wings, get in behind the defenders and put a low ball across. I think that's basically the ball we look to. That's our go-to ball. Get the ball to our fullbacks or one of the wide men. Get the ball in around the back of their fullbacks and put it across the box. We've been good at corners this year, but our success rate, like from set pieces, is good, but it could be an awful lot higher if we actually got any free kicks. So that's like teams are setting up to block, but we're not getting a lot of rubber green off referees either. So momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I mean, do you think we can, staying with you, Nigel, do you think we can be better at breaking them down in terms of like when they're very low? We've resorted on a number of occasions. There was one recently, I can't remember which one, where we ended up with, over 20 crosses in the game. And it was against Spurs. It was the Spurs one, where if you look back, there are so many crosses going into a box where we have maybe 2 players against 4 massive Spurs guys in the box. And they're obviously going to win those crosses. There's like hopeful crosses, that kind of thing doesn't make sense to me. Like it's just, you're just basically giving the ball away 999 times out of 1,000. You can swing in 999 crosses with those odds when you've got, let's say Salah and Jota against 4 massive defenders in the same area. Then you're just giving the ball away. So I mean, is that something you would agree with, Nigel, that we can just be more intricate? We can work it around. We can take a leaf out of Pep's book. Why not? And playing 1-2s in wide areas, getting more people in wide areas in order to get in behind them and cause.
We're better than City at that. We're better than City.
No, they're better than us at breaking down low blocks.
Think so?
Oh yes. How many times have you seen it? Sorry, how many times have you when they get the ball to Gabriel Jesus, they've caused a load of panic. Sterling's at the back, he rolls it back to Gabriel Jesus, he whacks it over the bar, and he's like, he's got that confused look, that confused look, the resting confused face. And how many times I've seen that tons of times.
I just don't think that City's. I don't know. Teams always seem to try against us or something like that. I don't know what it is, but teams are defending. Like I said, our best fly is getting behind fullbacks, but the fullbacks seem to be defending on the end line every time they play against us, and they suddenly they're just very, very deep defending, and we're going to have to try and cross them into the box at a lower angle rather than the high one from further out, if you get me meaning. Okay. Try to put the ball across the edge of the 6-yard box low, or around the penalty spot low, rather than putting in the high ball from wide out. To try and.
Okay. I tend to agree with Owen on this one. Sorry, Nigel. That
no problem.
I think it's one thing that I think we could definitely improve on is the movement, because the City that you'll see Kevin De Bruyne making a run from deep. How many times have you seen him run into that channel, that little space, and it's literally a 1-2, and then like a little through ball with the outside of the foot, or something, because I think teams expect us to have the ball, spray it over to the right, to bring it back into the middle, spray it back over to the left, and they can kind of set up against that, and eventually, if we just keep the ball, we will we'll break them down and something will happen. But whereas with City, I think because of the cleverness of the movement of the players, there's like a bunch of players moving all at the same time, and they do the quick 1-2 on the wing. I've seen it a few times where they're almost tapping balls into the goal, right? Because of the movement, I definitely think, and we're definitely capable of it, of doing that. I think that's probably something that perhaps we could do more. But I mean, I don't think we have the players for that. So I think we need another player like Thiago in the middle of the pitch, someone who can actually facilitate that, to kind of link that tippy tappy stuff around the box.
Well, I do have to say, I think De Bruyne is a genius. I think he's the best player in the Premiership. He's an absolute genius.
He's amazing.
Wonderful player. Wonderful.
He's obviously
player.
Liverpool
the best player in the Premier.
Why is he playing for City? Everybody loves De Bruyne.
Yeah, he's a class act. He really is. He's unbelievable.
He is, yeah.
Oh yes.
It's the only good thing about City. The rest of it's just completely shit, obviously.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you watch it. It is unbelievable when you watch Kevin De Bruyne play, isn't it? It's almost like every single touch is it's exactly what you would do if you were a FIFA master, or where you've mastered the controls many years ago, and it's just every single thing is just like is just perfection, almost, but real perfection doesn't exist.
Super
You
player.
might make a mistake. And let's talk a little bit about Aston Villa then and Manchester City. Now, the bad news. We'll start with the bad news, and there's quite a lot of it. Is that Manchester City? The last time Villa beat Manchester City at Manchester City was the 25th of September 2012. Almost 10 years ago, when Villa managed to win 4-2. Yeah, it's a good start. And the last 8 matches between the teams have all been Manchester City wins. They've won their last 8 matches with a ridiculous aggregate score, but I'll go through some of the scores in reverse chronological order. So going from the past up to the present, back on starting on the 30th of January 2016, it was 4-0 to City, then 4-0, 3-0, 6-1. Then it gets a bit better for us, 2-1, 2-0, and the last 2 matches, Man City only just won 2-1. They've only just beaten them in the last 2 matches. So, and that was on the 21st of April 2021 and the 1st of December 2021. But they were both at Villa Park, those 2-1 narrow defeats for Villa and those narrow victories for City. So there is hope, but Villa's form is pretty dark reading for Liverpool fans, I'm afraid, as well as Villa fans, because if you go back to the 13th of March, from the 13th of March onwards, they've lost to West Ham, Arsenal. Oh, no, hang on. Yeah, they've lost to West Ham, Arsenal, Wolves, Tottenham, and Liverpool, of course. They've drawn 3 times with Crystal Palace, Burnley, and Leicester, and they've only won 2 matches since March, which were against Burnley and Norwich. And so the chances of a win are slim. Perhaps a draw. I don't know. This is why my prediction for the game is only, I've only given us a low 7% chance. I don't know, Brian. What do you think about those results? Are you sorry? Your optimism, your 33% optimism, perhaps has dropped a little bit.
No, it's actually risen.
Okay, good.
No, listen. The thing is, though, think about, and obviously, I say this as a man who hasn't read the agenda or no statistics. Those teams that you have mentioned there, those were all like they played Spurs. Spurs are a formed team. They're doing very well. They played Arsenal when Arsenal right when Arsenal were actually, I think they lost to them when Arsenal were actually playing well.
Yes, they did.
They lost to us. Every team loses to us. There's no shame in that. You mentioned who else did they have a bad result again?
They lost to Wolves and West Ham.
Okay, we all know my feelings about Wolves. They're a fabulous team. And then you've got you got the teams they're supposed to beat. They beat, right? They beat Norwich, I think you mentioned, and some other
Norwich
team, right?
Burnley.
And then a couple of against the beautiful human beings FC, they got a draw. Difficult team to win against. B Dogs, Leicester. I don't know. I've watched them play a few times because they've almost become my second team because Stevie G's over there, right? And I think they play good football. They're Villa. At the end of the day, they're still Villa, right? There's a lot of work to do. But is Coutinho fit? Please tell me Coutinho's fit. Coutinho's fit. Danny Ings is fit. Steven Gerrard is the manager.
Martinez is not fit.
Martinez?
Well, he played the other day, though.
Did he really? I thought he got injured.
He wasn't fit. Yeah, that was the rumour that he got injured. There were various Villa accounts posting that he was injured, but he actually did play the other day against Burnley.
But you know what, guys? If you had said at the start of the season, you know what? We'll give you. You're going to be in every competition. You're going to win all the domestic cups, and the league will be decided on the last day by Stevie G's Aston Villa going. And this is before he signed Coutinho. Going with Philip Coutinho playing in midfield for Aston Villa, and Danny Ings playing up front. I'd be like, Yes. Give me that. I want that. Because you know what? If we win the league title and it's via Aston Villa getting a draw, and like let's say it's a tight 1-0, and in the 90th minute, Coutinho steps up and scores from a dead ball. Can you imagine? I think I'll just black out. Honestly, I'll be on the floor, out cold. What
so will the referee be after some shot?
To win it. There's only one thing better than winning the league. Is winning the league like that, right? That's like that's just up in the universe type of amazement things that could possibly come. So I mean, look, it's going to be box office no matter what happens. I don't think I could. I'm quite happy with Aston Villa. It's Aston Villa, and also I think Aston Villa's form is better away over the course of the entire season. They're a better away team than anything. It's all on them. We've already won 2 cups. We're going to the Champions League final. Our coach is already booked. The bus is going around town. We're all having a great time. Liverpool fans are like chilled out. We're loving every minute of this. City, this is everything for City. If they don't get a result on that, they've got nothing. They were embarrassed in the Champions League again, and they've won nothing. And he spent £1 billion, and so the pressure on them is immense. We are playing with no pressure because no matter what happens, we could lose 3-0 to Wolves on that day, and our players would still get a standing ovation to a man, And they walk around the pitch, and we'd all be like, "Wow, you boys have given us such an adventure this season." Whereas City are playing for everything; they're playing for all the marbles. And if they just mess up even slightly and they give Steven Gerrard and Philip Coutinho and Danny Ings FC a sniff, they'll be all over it like white on rice. That's my feeling.
I love it. I absolutely love it. That's excellent stuff. And you're absolutely right. In terms of home form, I've got the home table and the away table from soccerstats.com in front of me. And Aston Villa's home form puts them 15th in the league in terms of home form, and in terms of away form, they're 10th in the league. So, yes, Brian, you're giving me some hope here. What about you, Nigel? How's your hope levels, up or down?
I'm not so sure. I heard when you saying they lost to Arsenal, you'd want to be body snatched to be lose to Arsenal. Like, I mean, God only, they're useless.
No, but that was when they were on a good run of form.
Not so sure there's such a thing with Arsenal. I know they had a couple of good results, but they beat United.
Let's call them by their proper name, Banter FC.
Yeah.
Banter FC.
Top Banter.
Like, I'd be expecting the 3 of us and the 7 others to beat Arsenal. Like, if we put a team out. I don't know. I'd love to see Villa doing something, but I just can't see it. Honest to God, I just can't see it.
You can't see it in a month of Sundays, in 6 months of Sundays.
I'd love to see him getting a draw, but I just don't think so. I would absolutely love it, but I just don't think. I don't think the league will allow it. I've said it before. I just cannot see it.
Fernandinho's getting a sent off in the 3rd minute, mate. Straight red.
But that's the thing. Not with my.
They're going to go down to 10 men.
That's the thing.
The only way that's happening is it gets a genie on the field or something. No way.
I mean, that would be. I mean, I've daydreamed about that very thing. In fact, for me, I was daydreaming about an Edison red card, so that they'll have Zach Steffen in goal of 3 minutes. I mean, that would be pretty glorious. But no, the team in the last match, okay, because Konsa is injured for them. So the team in their last match, Villa, was against Burnley. 1-1 it finished. It was Emi Martinez in goal, Cash at right back, good player, Callum Chambers, not so good player, Tyron Mings, hot and cold in the same game. He can be, he can be a glorious leaping salmon, and a sort of squashed up little blobfish in the same match. Luca Dean at left back, and we know what a liability he can be in defence, although he's good in attack. John McGinn, David Luiz, and Jacob Ramsey in midfield. I think that's a very good midfield.
Yeah, Ramsey's a good player.
Buendia, excellent. Chukwuemeka and Ollie Watkins up front as a front 3. And I think it would be Buendia and Coutinho starting, because Coutinho came off the bench. I think against City, he'll play Buendia, Coutinho, and either Watkins or Ings. And Danny Ings has previous against Manchester City. I remember at their stadium, at City Stadium for Burnley, him scoring a winner many moons ago. I think Pellegrini was the manager of City. And that was when I watched it and I was like, who is this player? Before we signed him, of course. And when he was just a whippersnapper some 5, 6, 7 years ago. But he's got previous, and that's good. And I think that's a decent team because all we need is a Ludek Miklosko moment. And for those of you who don't remember Ludek Miklosko, let me take you back to circa 1995 when Blackburn Rovers were something like 2 points clear at the top of the table. Manchester United were in second. It was something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. But so Blackburn Rovers needed to beat Liverpool or at least avoid defeat if Manchester United didn't win. Basically, Manchester United had to win to have any chance of winning the league. And Blackburn lost against Liverpool. Ian Rush scored. I remember, I think Jamie Redknapp scored perhaps a goal as well. And it was 2-1 to Liverpool. And on the other game, concurrently, Manchester United were not just peppering the West Ham goal with shots, they were pepper spraying the West Ham goal with shots, and defenders were falling over West Ham defenders. They were blinded. They couldn't see. They were staggering around, bumping into each other, groping in the dark. But one man, Ludek Miklosko, had one of the greatest goalkeeping performances this side of, what's his name, that Russian guy, the cat.
That's Dasayev or Lev Yashin.
One of those. Lev Yashin, that's the one I was thinking of. Yes, this side of Lev Yashin's career, when he was absolutely everywhere. He must have saved 25 shots.
Yeah, he did.
He was unbelievable. And so Emi Martinez, that's what we want from him. Injury or no injury, maybe with a broken collarbone like Jerry Byrne at the 65 Cup final. That's what we want. We want we want a statue of Divock and we want a statue of Emi Martinez outside Anfield come September. I mean, we're bringing it round. We're bringing it round in a circle. This is something that I just don't think will happen. There are loads of dream scenarios. There are dream scenarios where we take off and we take our clothes off in a fit of passion and madness, and we start running. We start.
Sounds like a nightmare.
Phil Coutinho's banged one in. And yes, absolutely a nightmare. A nightmare for the neighbours, nightmare for the onlookers. But I'd be happy, God damn it. And I'd start running. I'm in Spain. It's 32 degrees outside. I don't care. I'm running for the beach. I can
see it now.
When I get to the beach,
I can see you.
I'm running.
Just imagine you're running with no clothes on.
I'm running on the sea. Exactly. Well, there you go. Congratulations, Brian. Congratulations. Good luck. And so I'm running on the sea. I'm running towards the sea. I'm splashing around in the shallow end of the sea. And I'm running into the cafe. I'm hugging all the waiters. I'm saying, hola, Ketel. I'm trying to make friends. I'm deliriously happy. There is that dream. But there's also, I think, the much more realistic thing, which is when City will spank Villa 4-0. Yeah. And we'll be like, pfft. But anyway, we've always got Paris. We will always have Paris.
Well, I just have to say, I can see the headlines now in Marca. Naked hugging man arrested.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. Local arrested in
Alicante.
Yes. Exactly. I was just happy, says tourist. Yes. Yes. I'll pretend I understand. But yes, absolutely. Okay. Brian, what's that? Brian, your 33% chance that you've given us at the start of this episode has now gone up or gone down?
Yeah, it's gone up. It's 50-50 now, I think. Yeah,
50-50?
Better.
Now, what would you do if Liverpool actually do pull off the incredible?
I thought about this recently. What does it mean to be a football fan? Why do we do this? And it's the moments directly after it's finished, when you just take a deep breath, you look to your mate wherever you are, and you just hug each other. Or, you know, if you're lucky to have a mate there, or if you're not, you know, you're watching it on your own, maybe you point up to the sky, to the people you used to watch it with. It's just us, like, why do we do this crazy stuff? You know, why do we follow football teams? We do it for the emotion, for the ride, for the magic, you know, and we're really lucky. I mean, in many ways, Liverpool reminds me of being an Irish fan, you know, being an Ireland fan. You know, we just love it. We just enjoy the ride. We enjoy the crack.
Yeah.
And we've got good reasons to enjoy the crack. But I think Liverpool are in that space now as well, where we enjoy the ride. We enjoy the football. We enjoy the emotion. We have the best fan culture in the world. You know, and definitely there's very few teams that can say that they're connected to their fans the way Liverpool is connected to our the fan channels, this channel. It's so much more than a football game, you know, and we just lap it all up. And I think this particular season, and, you know, with this manager and these players, I mean, it doesn't matter what happens, you know. We know every time our team go out there, they'll give it their best, you know, and they'll put on a show. And it's very rare that we see anything other than that. And if we manage to get it, and City manage to get it, then it'll be just another delirious, poetic moment in watching, like, the amount of magic moments I've had over the last 20 years. I mean, I've been following Liverpool for a while, but particularly the last 20 years. You know, the crazy, only Liverpool does these things, these games that we're not supposed to win, these, you know, 4-3s, you know, the goalkeeper coming up and heading the ball into the corner, into the back of the net, you know, to make sure we have got Champions League football. It's endless. If there was ever a team that could pull off something crazy like this, it's Liverpool. So, you know, don't get too sensible. Football is not about being sensible. Football is about dreaming, you know. So excellent. Let's enjoy it, huh?
Excellent. Yeah, dream on. Absolutely.
Dream
superb
away.
Answers. Superb answer. What about you, Nigel, to you know, to end, you know, to finish us off? Are you are you dreaming with the Technicolor dream coat on? What
110% we're winning. 110% we're winning the league. Let's be optimistic.
Okay, you've got it. Okay, you've gone from a slim chance to go.
Me too.
Bring it on.
Always try to be optimistic. What Brian was talking about there is the fan culture. The night we played Barcelona, about 10 or 15 minutes after the final whistle, I tried to call one of my friends, one of my best mates. And when he answered the phone, I started crying and I couldn't stop for about 20 minutes. I think I eventually said to him, look, I'll ring you back in a few minutes, and I couldn't stop. And I did ring him back later. It was just, that's Liverpool for you. You never know. We don't do things easy. And just, it's one of those, that could be one of those days tomorrow. Hopefully.
It could be. That's a beautiful answer. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful way to end, because it's there was one of the commentators in the Man City Real Madrid game. We haven't actually talked about their form. It's surprisingly patchy. That's another reason why we can dream. If you look at their recent form, we didn't have time to talk about it. But the commentator in City Real Madrid, they called Real Madrid a miracle club, and they are in Spain. If you look at some of their mad results that they've had over the years, although they were started by a fascist, and a lot of their European Cup triumphs don't count because of that. They have had some miraculous and weird games, and we are definitely that as well. So we're a miracle club going against, City. They had the Aguero moment, but apart from that, they've been mainly failures. Mainly for the amount of money they have. So miracles can happen. They can happen. We're going to keep believing in them.
Yeah. That miracle penalty shootout when they won the third division.
Well, exactly against Gillingham or whatever. Absolutely. Is there anything we've missed? Is there anything we'd like to add?
Not really, no. The cup final, but sure, we can do that another day.
Well, we're gonna next week on Cop On. Keep listening because I've got several preview episodes coming up. I've organised some things. We're going to have some exciting things coming your way. Thanks to absolutely all of you who were listening. I know you're listening around the world. Liverpool fans everywhere, and it's just an absolute joy to bring Cop On to you. And thank you so much to Nigel. Thank you so much to Brian. It's been really nice, guys. Thank you very much. You'll never walk alone. Miracles can happen. Dreams can come true. Keep dreaming.